Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to Energy Frontiers. I am Omono Okonkwo. Guess what's trending in and around Africa's energy industry this week? The Vice President in charge of power, energy, climate, and green growth at the African Development Bank, Dr. Kevin Kariuki, led a delegation to Egypt this week for exploratory talks on how the bank can support the country as it prepares to host COP27 in November. South Africa's Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has suggested a petrol price cap for the country to mitigate the impact of rising oil prices due to the war in Ukraine. A three-party collaboration between Morocco's Agency for Energy Efficiency, the Senegalese National Agency for Renewable Energy, and the Andalusia Agency for International Development and Cooperation have signed an agreement to increase cooperation in energy efficiency and renewable energy. South Africa's Standard Bank is looking to raise about $20 billion to fund renewable energy projects by 2060, while limiting funds for oil and coal projects. Coming up on Energy Frontiers is my chat with an official of HUSK Power Systems. Stand by. According to Climate Policy Initiative, decentralized renewable energy is one of the most cost-effective ways of scaling electrification. On this week's Energy Quick Chat, I spoke to William BRENT, the Chief Marketing Officer at HUSK Power Systems, a rural clean energy services company. HUSK Power Systems recorded a 45% revenue growth in 2021, and Brent is here to talk about how the company achieved that, as well as expansion plans across Africa. Welcome back. And now, please enjoy this most insightful interview with William BRENT. Congratulations to you and your team, William.
Thanks, Amano. It's nice to be here. Appreciate you having us.
Okay, so let's get started. Tell me about how you deliver revenue growth of 45%.
So HUSK Power is a company that builds community solar microgrids and mini grids in rural communities in Asia and Africa. We've been around since 2008. We pioneered really the industry of rural mini grids, starting at that time. And over that decade, we've learned quite a bit about what we ought to be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. The growth that we're seeing over the last few years, and we've seen a compound annual growth of about 60+% during the whole COVID period. So even during this major disruption, we were able to, maintain significant growth. And it's largely due to, a number of reasons. I mean, we take a real ecosystem approach to our business. So we're not just looking now at building mini grids or microgrids, but also bringing in other types of revenue streams as well, including rural, commercial, and industrial EPC, or essentially turnkey rooftop solar for commercial businesses in those communities where we work, as well as selling energy efficient appliances. So we have essentially three different revenue streams: power sales, EPC, and appliance sales. So that's sort of the ecosystem of our business. But also we've really been able to innovate a lot on both technology and business model over the past decade. Integrating Internet of Things and artificial intelligence into our grid management systems that allows us to scale. Really honing the logistics and construction of our mini grid. So, for example, in India, which is our first market, we're now able to build 12 to 15 mini grids per month, and that's the most rapid scale of any company in the industry. And there are many other innovations that we've been able to achieve over the years that allow us to achieve that type of growth and scale.
Okay, great. So how much progress are you making across the sub-Saharan electricity markets?
We entered the African market, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago in Tanzania. So that was our first market. We have about 10 mini grids there. And then in 2020, we set up operations in Nigeria. And that's been our major focus and will continue to be our major focus market in sub-Saharan Africa. So we were the first company to launch a batch of mini grids in Nigeria at the same time. Last fall in November, we launched 6 mini grids at the same time in Nasarawa State. And, we have ambitious targets for growth in Nigeria. We expect to have 30 to 35 built this year. And we want to have 500 built by 2026. So Nigeria will continue to be our main focus. We're looking at other markets in West Africa, East Africa, Central and Southern Africa, countries like Liberia, Uganda, DRC, Zambia. So we'll be expanding into other countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, but we really want to get Nigeria right. And we want to be able to achieve the same scale in Nigeria that we've achieved in India. In India, we already have about 130, 140 mini grids in operation. So, we're essentially trying to replicate the growth that we've seen in India, make sure that we get Nigeria correct, and then, start to expand into additional countries.
Okay, great. What's your view regarding the global energy transition agenda?
Well, we're seeing now with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine more than ever that supply chains for energy, traditional energy, fossil fuel energy, are really can be quite volatile. As a result, prices for oil and gas are on the rise. I think that the reasoning behind the transition is stronger than ever. The prices for renewables continue to come down considerably. So I think that, it really depends, I think, in part on the markets that you're talking about. But for the countries and regions where we work, Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, and South Asia, the transition is going to be maybe a little bit different than in more developed markets, right? Where you'll probably see natural gas continue to have a more prominent role in the near to midterm. But the economics of renewables are just so strong now that it's hard to make the case for many of the fossil fuel solutions that are sort of the legacy solutions. One example specifically for our industry in rural electrification is around diesel generators. Diesel generators, there's a huge economy of diesel generators, as you know, in Nigeria and other parts of sub-Saharan Africa. And that's really come about because of the failure of the centralized grid to reach these communities. And so the people who want to have commercial businesses or productive businesses, the only way they can do that is by buying a diesel generator and buying diesel fuel.
Yes.
But the reality today is that, the economics of mini grids and other decentralized solar solutions are so good that, we really are now able to displace diesel and transition to clean energy in a much more economical way and allow our customers, we have customers who are saving 25, 30% on their monthly energy bill by just switching from diesel generators to solar electricity from our mini grids. So, the transition's happening. It needs to accelerate. But I think, the developed G7, the G20 countries, they also need to recognize that, countries in Africa, which are the least responsible for climate change, but yet the most vulnerable, need to be given more leeway and need to be given more support in achieving the goal of net zero. You can't expect the regions that are least responsible to bear the brunt of that cost of achieving the energy transition. There has to be a lot more support for countries like Nigeria and elsewhere.
Yes. Okay. So give us your outlook on 2022. What are you looking to achieve, and how and in what regions are you mainstreaming investments and activities? You mentioned Southern and Central Africa.
Yeah, well, so, this is going to be a big year for us as a company. We raised a Series C equity round in 2018, 2019 of $25 million. This year we'll be raising a Series D equity round, maybe around $40 million. We're also expecting to raise about 20 million plus US dollars in debt. So, that's $60+ million for us to used to both build the corporation, expand where our presence by entering new markets, but also use that debt finance to accelerate the rollout of as many mini grids as possible. So, we'll probably double our fleet in India. For sub-Saharan Africa, as I mentioned, Nigeria is going to scale quickly, and I think so it will. But we'll see in terms of timing and specific regions or countries in sub-Saharan Africa that we expand into. It's still early days, but assuming that governments in sub-Saharan Africa take a similar approach to the government in Nigeria, which has had a very progressive policy on rural electrification and really stress the role for the private sector companies like HUSK Power to play a significant role and put the regulatory and support frameworks in place to do that. Assuming that the other governments in sub-Saharan Africa take a similar path, the opportunity is enormous. The World Bank says that we need 200,000 mini grids by 2030 to end energy poverty. That's a lot of mini grids. And so, assuming that the policy, assuming the policy and regulatory frameworks in these countries are strong and de-risk our industry and allow even more capital to come in, which, I'm hopeful that it will, that those governments will do that. You're seeing movement in Uganda, DRC, Zambia, many other countries where I think there's a growing recognition that these types of decentralized renewable energy solutions are going to be important. So it's an exciting year. Fingers crossed, things remain stable, and the international environment also remains without too much conflict that would impact supply chains and things like that. So I'm optimistic and, looking forward to a really good year of growth.
Okay. We thank you so much for your time here on Energy Quick Chats. And congratulations once again, and wish you all the best, William.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Look forward to keeping in touch.
We will track some energy products prices for you after this. Still on this edition of Energy Frontiers with me, Omona Okonkwo. London Brent crude went up 2.26% to trade at 109.05 USD per barrel. The US WTI went up 2.66% to trade at 105.72 USD per barrel as of early Friday. Natural gas went down 1.94% to trade at 4.89 USD per MMBTU, also on Friday. This week in Luanda, Angola, a gallon of gasoline cost 605.6 Angolan kwanza. Also in Cairo, Egypt, a gallon of 80 octane gasoline cost 35.96 Egyptian pounds. And that is the package for this edition of Your Energy Frontiers. And we thank you for watching. You can follow the show on Frontier Africa Reports website and all our social media accounts as shown on the screen. I am Omona Okonkwo, and I will see you next time.